welcome to Basketball Talk Pro. I'm Ron Ekker. Just a very quick point. This coming Saturday, tomorrow, when you are watching this film, we'll have that meeting like we did last Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will send out information on a separate email, so you'll have no trouble checking in. Remember, it's a very informal meeting. We just talk about any subject that you guys want to talk about. Answer questions. We try to keep it to around an hour, but sometimes we get talking and questions and things might go beyond. But I invite you to take part, because a lot of the questions and subjects that are brought up are things that you deal with, and somebody else may have had experience in working with it. So put that on your calendar. That's Saturday at 11 a.m., which will be tomorrow when you watch this, if you're watching it on Friday. Then just a short explanation of today. I said to you in the last meeting that there were three things. One of them was break down a film every week. So I did that. And I broke down the New York Knicks. I did their film, and I have three charts. This is going to have to go very fast. It's an overview. Don't feel you have to get everything, because the only way you can really get into it is in the course that we're preparing. I am prepared. I'm having trouble with the company and the format, but I'm still hopeful that I can get it done by this week. But this will just give you a taste of the information you can get from breaking down a film and the actual doing of it with an actual game. This is the Indiana New York Knicks game, so we'll take a look at the charts. I explain things as we go along, and we'll finish up for just a few minutes. So let's go to those charts now. Okay, this chart is, I don't have a lot of time to go through it today. I'll just give you a taste to it, but this is probably the most important chart that I look at right away, and I want you to see it right away, because we go from there to two other charts that kind of show what the problem is here. We'll start right out here. This is OER DER. This is New York's OER 1.04, and their DER 1.07. That's a -3. Over an 82 game season, that's quite a bit. So let's find out why that is. They're averaging, by the way, 94 possessions in a game. Their points per attempt is 1.0. That's good, but 1.03 for their opponents. That's bad. So let's follow that. Over here, you see their opponents are shooting 50% on twos, 37% on threes. Excuse me. To me, that jumps right out to me. That's where I look right away. New York has not been effective as they should be with their talent. But here's the reason. They're just giving up too many easy shots. So my first reaction is they don't contest shots. So I want to follow through with a couple other things. Look at their offensive rebounding percentage. 25%. Well, both teams were at 25%. And I'll tell you the reason for that. Right now in the NBA, and I see it a lot in college as well, everybody's so spread out looking for threes and looking at two-man plays and three guys standing, that when a shot goes up, the offensive players simply go back. They don't go to the boards. It's very seldom you see more than one guy going for the offensive boards. So it's really just giving the defensive rebounds. That should be 29 to 30%. And they would get a lot of good shots off of the boards. Here's a telling tale too for them. 55% of their shots are gained through or their baskets rather, are gained through an assist. Should be over 60%. So that gives us an overview, a place to start to, look at things. But I want to point out something. Here's their best players: 22.33 Anthony, no doubt about that. Chandler, 25.51, no doubt about that. See, I've given grades. I don't usually do that, but to kind of help you see how they rate as far as that, what they should have. Look at this kid. I saw him on the film, and I liked him on the film, but I didn't know anything about his numbers. His rating is 27.8. It's the best on the team, but he's only played 139 minutes. Uh, and normally I would say, well, uh, that's not enough to get a good rating. But when I watched him play, I think it is. And I'll show you some other things about him as well. So that's their raw. This is their per minute. I always have it right below the main one because I think it's an important statistic. So the only thing I'll point out here is what I always look for right away is the rebounds. You can get all kinds of stuff off the sheet, but let's go down on total rebounds per minute. Chandler at 0.34, very good rebounder, and a big help to their team. He really is. Look at 0.41 though, which is pretty outstanding. That same kid, Aldridge. Here's another thing that caught my eye. He's a .08 shot blocker. That doesn't mean a lot to you, that number, but I'll give you an idea. Chandler, who I think is a good shot blocker, is .04. And Dwight Howard is probably around .10. He's very close to Howard, who is an excellent shot blocker. I would take a look at this player if I give him more time. I think I want to find out if that's just a fluke or not, because these are awful good numbers to be only playing 139 minutes. One other thing I'll show you. Their combination of defensive rebounds and steals is 37.5, but their opponents are at 38.8. All of this shows us why they are averaging 97 points and their opponents are averaging 100 points. That is that's their problem. They need a lot of that contested shot drill, I believe. So now I want to move to the next chart, which we kind of grow out of this chart. Okay, this is an important chart. Now I took these off the film after I had looked at the overall stat sheet that I showed you because I felt in looking at their stat sheet, they just don't contest shots well enough. Otherwise, teams shouldn't be shooting as well as their opponents are at this time of the year. So remember, when we say a shot is contested, it could be either a 1 or a 2. A 0 means they didn't contest at all. And therein lies the problem. 33% of their opponent's shots were not contested at all. That's high. So they only contested 67%. You should be 70% or better, counting both ones and twos. And but you can see 21 uncontested shots in one game. Now it was funny. New York, it was a big game, New York came out and was very energetic in the first half. Had they continued like that, those probably probably would have been no more than 13 or 14 uncontested shots. Second half, though, they just kind of wilted, and maybe that tells you something about their, their attitude, their feeling. But 33% is just too much. And even though they had 67%, only 10 of them were twos. Most of them were ones. But let's take a look here. Chandler, 79%. Now he's carrying his weight because he had 14 chances to contest a shot. 79%. Stoudemire, not bad, but he only had 7 chances. In his position, that tells me he's not active enough. He should be more active. And you remember the kid Aldridge? 100%. He contested every shot that he had a chance to in the time he played. And a third of them were twos. In fact, Chandler had twos, but it was only he and Chandler that had twos. This chart shows you why their opponents are shooting at such a high level. And now as a coach, you see, this should tell you something. I don't know if they know this even. A lot of teams don't. You got to start working on this. You just can't let this go. This is almost the end of the season. And it had to be like this most of the season. Otherwise, they'd have a much better record. They probably would be in the playoffs if this was of 71%, say, for example. And that's just enough to win more ball games. Now we got one more chart to look at, but you can see what we're doing. We have the main chart. We find some fallacies, then we confirm it with film work, and that's what we do when we break down films. So let's go to the third chart now. This is our third chart, and this is a pretty big one too. This is where we break down the offense. I list the plays here. You know, I couldn't get the calls. In fact, I don't think they signal. I think they must do everything verbal. So I use numbers. I have those plays diagrammed in a place so that I know what each one of those plays are like. This is just the shots, layups, inside of 15 feet, 15 feet to 3-point shots, rebound shots, and free throws. This is the totals. We keep track of turnovers, fouls. I did not do uncontests in this film. Got about a third way in. That's when I remembered I should have. So there's nothing there. But these are dependent on which play they occur in. The thing I want to show you is this. See these plays? I mean, you got a long list here, but I'm going to pull it down a little bit. Go down here. And you can see this represents 23 plays. But as you look at this, most of these plays, they ran only a couple times. A lot of them just one time. They ran 56 plays and 23 different plays. So that's an average of 2 times per play. That's not enough. If you were looking at our system, we probably take about 6 spaces here for everything we do offensively at the half court. So we're going to run our plays probably 5, 6, 7 times each average, but some of them will jump up to 10 or 12 also. So I just don't think you allow your players to get good at execution when this is all the times you run the plays. You know, even in practice, 23 plays, you can't even practice that many in a normal practice. Now, just so that I'm helping you understand some of these things, these are the the plays that we type those in because we know they're going to be there. Side out of bounds, end out of bounds, that kind of thing. Let's move down here. Breakdowns. We said they ran 56 plays. Well, they broke down 14 times. But look at how well they did. 1.29. That's really good. That's because the defense is scrambled when they break down. And the offense becomes unpredictable because the players are going on their own. They ran a lot of no plays, and I just didn't understand that. But for some reason, they just didn't run a play. Sometimes it was after an offensive rebound. Still, they were good. 1.06. This is their best score in these two areas. And because the defense is not set and they're unpredictable in those places, and that's the confirmation of being a team like the Monk offense that can take advantage of these situations. Their best play was this one here, 54. I'll tell you what it was. It was an isolation for Anthony with the ball at the elbow, and that's why it was pretty effective. But they did too much isolating, and that's part of their problem. So here's another area I want to draw your attention to. 18 fast breaks off the rebound. Should be more than that. I mean, I know they had something like 35 somewhere in that area of defensive rebound, and they only took the ball and ran it 18 times. But here, they turned from that into transition. You have very few transitions off of steals because they're usually wham wham. You're down the floor after a steal. So most of the time you don't have transition. But they had 15 transitions and only scored 4 points. Look at here. They never made a shot. 0 for 8 on transition. In our system, transition is normally over a 1 point. That's our bread and butter because that's when we run. We have the Monk offense, and usually we got about 17 seconds to run it. So this is almost unheard of, and it hurt them. They won the game. This game was with Indiana, a big tough team, but they still neither team really played that well. Indiana didn't play well at all, and so you can kind of see in here. Now their shooting percentage here was 41%. Actually, on the box score, it's less than that. I only had them for 14 3-point shots. They had them for 17. The makes were accurate. I must have missed a hand up by the official. Sometimes you're watching TV, doing it off a game on TV, you don't get a good look at it. Or I could have just missed it because on the numbering too. But still, taking my numbers, they shot 41%. Their field goal value was 0.86. That means they scored 1.86 points for every field goal attempt. Not good enough. Should be 1-0. Their effective field goal percentage was only 43%. That's with making 4 threes. They didn't shoot threes well in this game. I thought they took a lot of hurried threes that they didn't need to take. So you have 0.79 was their OER on their plays. That's a little deceptive because see sometimes there's a duplication. For example, we count this as 3, but they may have broke down twice. So the count is much higher. That's normal. 0.79 in the NBA is average, kind of on the high end of average, but mainly because of these two things right here did it. So this is very fast. You can go through all of this, and you can spend a long time with it and get a lot of good information. But this is what breaking down a film is. And this is what the information you should have afterwards. It doesn't take long. I did this film probably in hour and a half, and that includes putting it on this sheet. Um, it's not a big thing. To me, it's very interesting. I enjoy watching these games and breaking them down. I enjoy seeing the numbers that they come out. It tells me a lot. So you got a look today at three charts that we use to break down films. This is just a quick overview to learn how to do these things well. You need some time, and but you could do it now. Just take one aspect, for example, and get some practice in that. But I wanted you to see what kind of things can help you with this kind of work. So that's it on the charts. Well, as I said, it would be quick, and I know it went fast. I just want you to get a feel of it, and because it is something as coaches, a lot of times coaches, and I was no different when I was first starting. I didn't know how to do these things, so I never did them. I asked a lot of people, but not a lot of them were doing it. So I ended up kind of having to learn to do it myself. And of course, as you go up in the business and you get into Division I and the NBA, you got a lot more help, and you do a lot more things. But that's the way it should be, because you're in a very fast company. The competition is very keen. But the best thing you can do is when we get the course put together on the internet, that will help you. That will be more detailed and more definite explanations. Remember the meeting tomorrow, Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Feel comfortable in coming. You don't have to say anything. If you've got a webcam, we get to see your face, but if you don't have a webcam, you can do it by phone. That's no problem. Just when you get the email with all the information, just come on in. And if you are late, that's okay. If you have to leave early, that's okay. No one will say a word. So hopefully we'll see you then. Thanks.